Announcing the historic end today to the ban on open service by transgender Americans. The decision to lift the ban is effective immediately, and this comes at the tail end of a year-long review process. Opponents expressed concern that this could harm readiness and effectiveness in combat. But for more on the impact of this decision, I'm joined by Navy Lieutenant and member of SPART, a military LGBT advocacy group, Blake Dreeman, and Gregory Angelo, who's, of course, president of the Log Cabin Republicans. Gregory, you and I have been talking about this stuff for years, which is just development of how's this fit in the history of liberation, of recognition, of if not celebration, certainly respect.
Well, yeah, this goes back to integration of African Americans into our nation's military. This goes to integration of women into our nation's military. As you know, as your viewers know, Log Cabin Republicans spent years fighting Don't Ask, Don't Tell to allow open service for gay and lesbian service members in the military, and now we're able to welcome our transgender brothers and sisters to serve in the military. They enlisted in the military because they love this country. They want to protect our freedoms. They should be allowed to serve openly without fear of being discharged because of who they are.
Lieutenant, thank you for joining us. You know, my dad was in the Navy in World War II. My two brothers were naval officers, and my dad said years ago, and he was no liberal, okay? He was no liberal. But he said, there are a lot of gays in the military. That's the way it is. Yes, and he said, it was almost like, oh, that's the way it is. What's your experience tell you? Tell us about your experience.
So I've been in the Navy 10 years. Commissioned out of OCS in 2006. I've deployed all over the world.
You came in, and your identity was what?
Female.
Okay.
I've deployed all over the world. I've done 11 operational deployments throughout my 10 years of service. And
how'd it go?
Personally, it's been great. I did the integration of women on submarines in 2011. I was one of the first female-bodied individuals to serve on submarines.
And how'd that go? Because that's often pointed to by people who haven't been in the services. It's very confined. It's claustrophobic to most of us who don't want to get in one of those things that go underwater for miles and miles. What was it like in those close circumstances?
It was perfectly fine. We adapted to managing our own privacy, and in fact, we had a flip side.
You said we. Were there other people?
I mean, the crew. Yeah. We had 3 females on the boat, and we had to manage our own privacy with each other. In fact, we had a flip sign for the restroom, for male and female, for the officer restroom, and that only lasted a little bit of time before we moved that flip sign from the outside door, because there are 2 doors, from the outside door to the inside door, where it was on the shower door, so that we could all share the restroom without interfering with the privacy of somebody taking a shower. So we adapt to the different privacy situations.
Well, what do you make of this thing? We had to mention, you have to go first because you're in the military, about this causing problems with readiness. These terms like readiness come up. What does that mean? Ineffectiveness. What's that mean?
They're afraid that transgender people are going to not be deployable, when in fact that's just not true.
How would that physically be a case? I mean, what would stop somebody like yourself from doing the job?
There's nothing that stops me from doing
What do they say, the critics?
They're worried about surgeries and things like that, but we deploy, DOD deploys transgender civilians. Yeah. The State Department deploys transgender civilians to remote locations. So the fact that we would be non-deployable is a moot point.
Chris, the same boogeymen that you heard brought up when Log Cabin Republicans was fighting for open service for gays and lesbians in the military. Oh, this is social experimentation in the military, or oh my goodness, we're going to have to worry about showers. Whatever will our military do? I mean, look at Lieutenant Dreeman here, right? I mean, this is someone who served his country, continues to serve his country, and the military isn't the one that has a problem with the implementation of this stuff. It's the politicians that politicize.
So the military, just to get this sense quickly, people identify how they identify in terms of gender is not as important as the duty you have. And people do identify. They know they're not at a club somewhere. They know they're on military time, right?
Yes.
People adjust to the circumstances.
They adjust to the circumstances, absolutely.
I think that's what happens. Thanks for your service.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I've seen Das Boot. That's the only thing I know about submarine life. It's a hell of a movie about the Germans, remember, in World War II.
Oh, yeah. Famous movie.
They got the fruit hanging, not the fruit, the meat hanging, everything's hanging. It's like you're living in a, everything's close together in those places. It's close together. Anyway, thank you, Lieutenant Blake Dreeman and Gregory Angelo, as always, with all the, keep coming in with the progress. Up next.